that small wins change everything is based on how our minds build momentum. We often think success comes from one huge moment, a big breakthrough that changes everything at once. But the truth is, our brains are shaped by repetition, not explosions. Tiny actions, repeated again and again, slowly rewire our thoughts, our confidence, and our habits. Just like a heavy boulder needs a powerful push to move at first, but rolls smoothly once it starts, our lives transform when we keep taking small, steady steps forward. In an ancient forest lived a young red squirrel named Silas. The forest was full of towering trees, winding roots, hidden streams, and whispering leaves. To the other animals, it was a place of freedom and adventure. But to Silas, it felt like a world built for giants. Every branch looked too high, every leap too risky, and every path too confusing. High above everything stood the great oak, a massive tree whose branches stretched like arms across the sky. The sweetest acorns grew there, and the most skilled squirrels lived among its leaves. Silas dreamed of reaching it, but the journey felt impossible. He watched the older squirrels leap from branch to branch with grace and confidence. They seemed fearless, almost magical. Silas believed they were born special, and he was born small, weak, and slow. Many days, he stayed still on his mossy branch, telling himself, "That world isn't for me." He thought about the distance, the danger, the chance of falling. The more he thought, the heavier his fear became. In his mind, being small meant being stuck forever. One quiet morning, as sunlight filtered through the leaves, Silas felt tired of feeling afraid. He knew he couldn't reach the great oak. That dream felt too big, too far, but he looked at the branch beside him. Just a short jump away, barely 12 inches. It felt almost silly to call it a goal. Still, he took a deep breath. His paws trembled, his heart raced, but he jumped. He landed. Nothing dramatic happened. No one cheered. The forest didn't change. But inside Silas, something tiny flickered. A soft, warm thought, "I did that." The next day, he didn't think about the great oak. He looked down and saw a shallow puddle with a flat stone in the middle. It wasn't far. He hopped onto it. His fur got a little wet, but he stayed balanced. Again, that small spark returned. The day after that, he found a broken hazelnut shell and decided to carry it to a hollow log. It took effort. He dropped it twice. But he kept going, step by step, until he placed it inside. He felt tired, but also proud. These actions were tiny. No one in the forest would call them heroic. But something inside Silas was changing. His paws grew stronger from climbing. His balance improved from hopping. His mind stopped screaming about fear and started noticing progress. He began to enjoy the sound of his claws tapping against bark, the feeling of landing safely, the quiet satisfaction of finishing what he started. Days turned into weeks. Silas began setting little challenges for himself. One day, he jumped across a narrow gap between two branches. Another day, he climbed a twisted route that once looked too steep. He explored a new patch of forest, one tree at a time. He still felt fear, but it no longer controlled him. Each small win whispered, "You can do more than you think." One afternoon, the sky darkened and a shadow swept across the forest floor. A hawk was circling above. Panic spread through the smaller animals. Without stopping to think, Silas moved. He dashed up a rough rock face, grabbed onto thin vines, and climbed higher and higher. His body remembered all the tiny climbs, jumps, and carries he had practiced. His movements were fast, natural, almost effortless. He leaped into a knothole high in the branches and hid, his heart pounding. When the hawk flew away, Silas slowly looked around. He froze. He was surrounded by enormous branches, golden leaves, and clusters of rich, heavy acorns. He was sitting inside the great oak. For a moment, he couldn't believe it. He had imagined this place as unreachable, a dream for other squirrels. Yet here he was, not because of one giant leap, but because of hundreds of tiny ones. He realized the older squirrels weren't magical. They were simply squirrels who had practiced many small actions until those actions became natural. Silas felt something new, not just pride but understanding. The magic he searched for was never a gift. It was built, inch by inch, day by day. This is how real life works for humans too. Big goals, like learning a skill, losing weight, building confidence, or changing habits, can feel terrifying. When the goal feels too large, our brain reacts with fear, and we delay, avoid, or give up. But when we focus on tiny steps, our brain feels safe. A single page read, a 5-minute walk, a short practice session. These are small wins that quietly build momentum. Each small success teaches your brain, I can do this. Confidence grows, skills improve, and what once felt impossible slowly becomes normal. The mile is conquered because you mastered the inch. A transformed life rarely begins with a loud, dramatic moment. It begins with quiet, almost invisible steps taken consistently. Small wins may seem boring, but together, they become powerful. Over time, they turn fear into courage, weakness into strength, and dreams into reality. Sometimes.